Chauffeur Gordon Wood loses his lawsuit against the state 6 years after he was acquitted of murder. Gordon Wood has lost a $20 million lawsuit against the state of NSW more than 6 years after he was acquitted of murdering his model girlfriend Carolyn Byrne by spear-throwing her off a cliff. The 55-year-old former chauffeur to flamboyant stockbroker Renee Rivkin pursued the state for millions of dollars in damages in the NSW Supreme Court for malicious prosecution. But Friday's ruling means he won't receive any compensation. Mr. Wood served more than 3 years of his 13-year sentence after being convicted of killing his 24-year-old girlfriend at The Gap, a notorious suicide spot in Sydney's eastern suburbs, in 1995. His conviction was overturned in 2012 with the NSW Court of Appeal finding suicide couldn't be ruled out as a cause of the model's death. The 3 appeal judges strongly criticized trial prosecutor Mark Tedeschi QC and Associate Professor Rod Cross, a physicist who told the jury Ms. Byrne must have been thrown off the cliff. Mr. Wood's lawyer in 2017 said the investigation into the model's death was biased and flawed. It was always intended to find my client was guilty of murder, not to get the actual truth, Bruce McClintock SC told a hearing over the lawsuit. The barrister said police relied on Professor Cross's evidence when he wasn't qualified to speak about how a body may have left the cliff. A photo of the alleged murder scene used at Mr. Wood's trial was taken 7 years later than claimed. An allegation that he asked to see the breasts of his girlfriend as she lay in a morgue was also totally false, the court was told. But Mr. Tedeschi argued his conduct was fair and detached and aimed at serving justice. He said that during Mr. Wood's trial he considered the evidence was not just a bare case against Mr. Wood but a very powerful, cogent case implicating him. The former prosecutor listed Mr. Wood's inability to explain why he went to The Gap the night of Ms. Byrne's death among the evidence that supported a murder prosecution. While Professor Cross overstepped the mark in reporting on matters outside his expertise, Mr. Tedeschi said his core findings were utterly reliable. Mr. Wood in a witness statement said the ongoing battle to clear his name continued to take its toll and he hadn't worked since his 2006 arrest. He described his years in prison as a living death during which he was assaulted by a guard and hit by a notorious killer. Jail must be unbearably difficult even if one is guilty, but as an innocent man it was unimaginable, he said.